Hello guys, this is PushDustIn with Source Gaming, and joining me today is Tris and Andrew, who is also known as King Koopas from WiiHii.
Hello.
Hello.
WiiHii is a channel on YouTube that does a lot of gameplay. They do a lot of Let's Plays. What game are you guys playing right now?
Right now we are in the middle of putting out a bunch of Smash Bros. Videos, and we have some new things coming out soon. I think some of us recorded Bloodborne, I think I said. And
Yep, that was Christian.
yes, and we have a few other things in the works coming out soon, namely Resident Evil 7 in a few weeks when that releases.
Yeah.
That's going to be our next big thing.
Okay, and so you definitely want to check out that channel after the discussion because they help out Source Gaming with footage, and they're just a bunch of great guys, so please check them out. But anyway, today we are actually going to be talking about the Switch. So Andrew and Tris, they both got a chance to go to New York and try out the Switch at Nintendo's event.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what do you think of the actual event itself?
So, we've been going to Nintendo events in New York City for a while, so we thought we had certain expectations that we would just assume, one of which being that we thought it would be mostly full, like, right away, but, this wasn't at the normal Nintendo store, this was at a different venue, so we got there, like 15 minutes before the line was quote-unquote supposed to start, and it was already wrapped around the building, but we asked one of the guys working there, and they said like pretty much everyone there before 9 would be guaranteed getting in.
Yeah, the amount of people that were allowed to go there was huge.
And once we actually got into the event, which surprisingly we were in the first session from like 10 to 11:30,
Yep.
something like that. It was actually we were expecting, like at a convention with like a bunch of booths, like little areas to try them out, but it was. I'm sure you might have seen some of the people who posted like videos of like touring the place. It was literally like a party. There was lights going off everywhere. There was music playing. There was a really happy announcer there the whole time, announcing pretty much time slots, whatever thing was about to take stage. It was impressive.
The atmosphere there was much more like a party than like showing off games.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of times these kinds of events, they try to really hype it up and like make it more enjoyable
Yeah.
than like a typical event. Because it's a new console. They want people to be excited.
Yeah, it definitely had that exciting atmosphere about it.
Got me excited. I was sleep deprived and I was just about to run all over the place.
So, what games did you actually get to try out on the Switch?
So we purposely kind of split off to play different things so we can combine our pretty much just combine our thoughts. So I broke off to play pretty much every form of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. That's tabletop mode and the portable mode. And then I also got to play a little bit of Super Bomberman R and Fast Racing Remix. I watched some Splatoon and some Zelda, but unfortunately I did not get to play them. And then
I got
Andrew.
to play okay, so I got to play a little bit of Bomberman R. I got to play Fast Racing Neo. I got to play ARMS with the motion controls, and that was amazing, by the way. Can't wait.
Yeah, I think I know in the Japan event they had certain directions that people could go in, and that would determine what kind of games you would play.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was Brando who was talking about that.
Yeah, Brando and Massman actually also went to the Tokyo event,
Oh, okay.
and so if you went in a certain direction, then you could only play ARMS and a couple of other games.
Yeah, I remember seeing them post about that. There were like 3 directions to go.
Yeah. So you guys didn't actually get to try out 1-2 Switch then?
No,
right?
but we did not. But it was the main stage event that they had there, so pretty much anyone around was getting to watch it. Like pretty much on the stage that they had, they pulled up volunteers to go play it to get a chance at winning a Nintendo Switch hat. But we were in line for games while that was going on, so we didn't actually get to play it. But we saw some people having some fun with it.
Okay. So, what do you think of the controller itself? Of the Joy-Cons? Well, let's start off with the Joy-Cons
Okay.
first, then.
Just the Joy-Cons on their own, you mean, or?
Yeah, we'll do. Let's start off with the Joy-Cons on the actual Switch itself.
Okay.
So using both of them at the same time.
So when attached to them, to me, the first thing I actually thought of was like holding the gamepad, but it felt much more comfortable to hold. You know, the gamepad is on it's constantly kind of attacked, so to say, for its bulky size, but this felt like a really good size. It kind of reminded me of holding a 3DS, especially with the way the buttons are. There was no. I know some people are worried, like if they might hit the release button on the Joy-Cons or something, but my fingers were nowhere near that, and it was not only comfortable to hold, but it felt like the whole button layout actually made sense during it. I mean, I played Mario Kart with it, and I didn't have any problems.
Okay, and then once you actually took the Joy-Cons off, just I guess in tabletop mode, I think they call it.
Yeah, so that's when the Switch is like in the that's when like the kickstand's out, and you have the two separate. You're each holding a single Joy-Con. Well, in my case, it was each person because it was two people, but that was actually pretty interesting because they actually let us like remove the Joy-Cons themselves, which actually you would expect it's either like really flimsy or something, but I actually had to get a good grip on the console just to be able to pull it off for the first time. So I think it takes like some practice at first because putting it back on wasn't that bad. But playing the single Joy-Con, you know, the main concern people have is that it's too small or that it would have trouble fitting with bigger hands. But both the person I played with and I both agreed like it's really comfortable for even Mario Kart, which is weird to say because normally you have so many buttons you have to hit of like, you know, one trigger to drift, one for items, the control stick to move, and A to accelerate. And I don't think anybody there had problems with that. That was actually rather comfortable. I mean, Andrew, I know you did that with the add-in of the wheel. Did that change anything?
Well, the wheel obviously made it different to hold, but what I can say about the Joy-Con is they advertise the motion controls and the IR sensor a lot. And I didn't think they were going to make too big of a deal about it because it seems more like they wanted the controllers just to be like you can hold it freeform, like wherever you put your arms, rather than like moving about. But even then, like, the motion controls were pretty spot on. Like, it's different technology from the Wii Motion Plus, and I'd say it's a lot more accurate than that.
Yeah, I heard one thing is that the Joy-Cons are incredibly light.
Yeah, you know, even like comparison to like a Wii remote, they feel like, you know, even the Wii remote has some weight to it, unless you take out the batteries. But these, I wanted to be like really gentle with these at first because you know they felt so light. But after actually using it a little bit, like it didn't feel like I was gonna break it or anything from pressing too hard, and they felt light, but they felt comfortable. Like it didn't feel like I had to actually worry about that.
That's pretty reassuring. So, what do you think about the I would say the Pro controller?
So, the Pro controller was, to be honest, at first I didn't notice too much of a difference in comparison to the Wii U one. Mostly because, probably because I haven't used the Wii U one too much, only a handful of times. But it reminded me a lot of that, even if only just in the layout. I mean, I believe that's the only controlled scheme that has the D-pad. Also, sorry if you're hearing car noises outside. Anyway, yeah, so that has the D-pad, and I believe the controller itself also has the motion controls and HD rumble within it. The game I played with it, which was Fast Racing RMX, did not have that, so it didn't really have like the motion controls with it or anything. I can't remember offhand if that had rumble to it, but it was comfortable to hold, and I've heard some people say like they really liked the Wii U Pro controllers, and this reminded me so much of it that I feel like anybody who liked those would like these as well.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but those Pro controllers are also digital triggers, right?
Yes, I believe so. I don't remember any analog triggers anywhere there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I've seen some people still confused about if the Pro controller has it or not. So I'd like to clear that up. So what do you think about the actual Switch itself?
Well, Angie, do you want to go first? I know you haven't said too much yet.
Well, the Switch itself, like the controller, you got to play a lot more of that. I just got to play a lot more of Joy-Cons.
Okay. I think the first thing I honestly have to say is I was really impressed with how the visual quality on the Switch itself was, because I'd already seen like a few videos and people talking about like, oh, it's, you know, it looks really nice, but it's one of those things where you still have to see it for yourself to kind of judge that. And I was really surprised at how well Mario Kart looked on the Switch, both just normally and on tabletop mode. I could sit back and still see it without worrying of it being too small or anything. The best way I can compare it is to the Wii U gamepad, where, not in a bad way though, because people look at the Wii U gamepad and even though it's outputting, you know, the console on a handheld, people think, oh, it looks bad, it's not even HD. Basically, running Mario Kart 8 on both tabletop and handheld mode, it looked about as good as it would like on the TV screen Wii U in terms of it was HD and it had a great frame rate, both of which better than running on the Wii U gamepad. So I was honestly really impressed by that.
If I remember correctly, the output is 720p, like 60 frames per second, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Like on a small screen like that, 720p would look good. Like, I'd say just as good on a small screen than 1080p on a large TV, right?
Yeah, and even then, I saw you guys, I saw you and David also from WiiHii playing Mario Kart on the TV, and that also looked amazing, honestly. So I'm honestly, personally, fairly impressed with just hands-on, like how good it all actually looked. I think some games can look really great on that.
What do you think about the actual size of the console? Do you think it's a good size? Do you think it should be smaller? Do you think it should be a little bit bigger?
So that was one thing I was also wondering when going in. You know, so many people think it looks too small, especially the Joy-Cons. But as I touched on earlier, the Joy-Cons themselves feel like a good size. The Switch itself, I'm having trouble exactly deciding on like what a good comparison for its size is, because it's bigger. Like it's bigger than like holding the new 3DS in terms of like horizontally or anything like that. But that's honestly what it reminded me of, because I like when I got back home, I like picked up the gamepad and like compared it, and the gamepad is just too bulky to kind of compare it. Honestly, it's more sleek like a 3DS in terms of size, but it's longer horizontally.
I would say imagine a skinnier gamepad. I'd say it's about that size.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm fairly certain that screen would be bigger, but yeah, it's the. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would definitely.
I heard that
like
the
a thinner
build quality
gamepad.
was a lot better on the Switch than the gamepad too.
Mm.
Like the actual plastic and everything, the finishing.
Yeah.
What game did you that you did get to play that you enjoyed the most?
So I'm I'm slightly biased because
Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart 8 was my favorite Wii U game, and
Okay.
I was ecstatic to see it coming to the Switch, mostly because I guess I'm easily entertained, because just the thought of being able to play Mario Kart 8 on the go was really exciting to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like that bias also comes from I've never played a Bomberman game before, so I had no idea what to take away from the Bomberman game that I tried. And Fast Racing Remix was basically the same thing as Fast Racing Neo, but hey, there's more. Which I guess the same thing could be said for Mario Kart, but there's my bias. I think Andrew has a lot he wants. I think Andrew has a lot he wants to say on ARMS, though.
Oh.
So go ahead.
I like Mario Kart and I like Fast Racing Neo and all, but oh my god, ARMS is so good. I was expecting like a really repetitive fighter, and I guess it can be a really repetitive fighter when you play for like hours on end, like Smash. But I don't know, I see a lot of potential in it.
I know that you only played ARMS with the motion controller. Did you get tired playing it with the motion controller, or was it okay?
I thought it was fine. The only like real motion you do is just moving your fist forward. Otherwise, a lot of the other functions are like press L to dash, press R to jump. Moving is just tilting of the controller. So the only really maybe strenuous thing to do is just moving your arm forward quickly, and that's just if you really get into the game.
Yeah. For Mario Kart 8, do you think there's enough content to justify a repurchase for a lot of people?
So, that was funny. I was actually just having this conversation earlier. I think it really depends on what people decide they really want. Because on one hand, you're getting not just the base game, which is still going for $60 on Wii U, but you're also getting all the DLC and the new content boxed in. And you can play it on the go. Mm-hmm. So, technically, you're getting more than a $60 value for $60. I personally feel like that is pretty good.
Yeah.
However, I do know some people are expecting, at least one more cup of tracks and at least a few more characters, but I'm pretty sure they actually confirmed there won't be new tracks. I mean, maybe there'll be DLC. I don't know. That counts as that would count as a
Japanese stream.
Yeah, I believe they were
on the Japanese stream. They said that there would be 48 tracks, which is the same amount as there is in Mario Kart 8, including the DLC.
Right. So
it didn't technically say they would all be the same tracks, but
it would be weird for them to remove tracks. So
yeah, they would just basically replace tracks. Yeah.
They probably have a few more battle tracks to show off and a few more battle modes. So I don't know, aside from maybe any additional characters and like kart parts, I don't think there'll be any other like big new tracks or anything. So for people looking for a whole set of new racetracks, if you already got the DLC and you don't care for battle mode, I guess they won't need to get it. But I do feel like just the ability to play it on the go and the fact that it's technically more than a $60 value compacted back down to $60, I actually think that's pretty good personally. I mean, Andrew, you're not as avid a Mario Kart fan as I am, but what do you think of that?
I totally get it if maybe you sold your Mario Kart 8 game back to GameStop and then rebought it for the Switch.
He says, looking at me.
Just the fact of being able to play Mario Kart 8 on the go sounds amazing. But I'm also a college student who doesn't have that much money. Yeah. I already spent so much money on the DLC. I really don't know if it is worth it. Rebuying it again.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of the road myself because I bought Mario Kart 8 when it was on sale. I think it was the New Year's sale.
Right.
And then I just picked up the DLC immediately after because I was like, well, I already have 40% off, so I might as well get the DLC. But actually, I didn't get a chance to play that much Mario Kart 8. So I've almost unlocked all the characters, but because I've just been so busy with Source Gaming and everything, I just don't have a lot of time to play video games.
Yeah, no,
unfortunately.
That's entirely understandable. Yeah, honestly, I kind of feel like it's up to the individual. To me, it seems like they're mostly pitching this to the people who did not play, who either did not get Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U, or actually, this is something I should probably bring up. I think almost every demo of it, be it at the one we went to and everything I've seen online, majority of the content, aside they have all the characters in the base game, but majority of the content they show in the demo of all the courses you can play and majority of the vehicles are all DLC. All the DLC from the original thing. So I think they're definitely trying to push this for people who either did not get Mario Kart 8 on Wii U or just didn't get the DLC. Because
it seems like because the Wii U didn't really sell that much.
Yeah, so it seems like they're definitely trying to push what's considered new. I mean, that DLC is technically old, but at the same time, it had a fairly good longevity because of that DLC. So trying to pitch that in the base game, I think actually works.
And there's always the chance that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe could get DLC.
That is true, and I would hope so, because I think the people that feel like they might have missed out on that the first time, they might be willing to support it. It's like, hey, this is actually really great. I would love if they did it, and they would support it. I think that would be really good. I know there would be arguments of people on the Wii U version, not getting that DLC, but this is what they want to be the ultimate version of the game, definitive version.
Overall, what do you think of the console? Do you think it will be a success? Do you think it's gonna have a rocky start?
So, I've been looking at what the Wii U launch was like lately, and the main argument I'm hearing from a lot of people is that the Switch launch won't be good because it doesn't have that good of a launch lineup. But I actually feel like the way they're pitching this, they're trying to avoid what they did with the Wii U, which everybody's saying they haven't learned from that. But the main problem with the Wii U was that every time a big title launched, there was pretty much nothing for months. Sometimes there would be something occasionally, but for the most part, there was never anything big multiple times a year.
Especially in the Wii U's last year.
Oh yeah, especially in the last year. I feel bad for the people that might have gotten Color Splash and then are waiting for Zelda. But going off of that though, with the Switch, I mean, even just earlier today, I think they announced Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus for the Switch, or maybe it was yesterday. But
that was announced actually immediately after the Direct.
Oh, was it? Huh.
Or after the presentation.
I didn't actually hear people talking about that till earlier. Okay, but so they're still kind of going through things that are going to be available at launch or near launch, and I feel like between Zelda and a bunch of titles they clearly want you to play to kind of test out the Switch and just be like, hey, here's a bunch of titles coming on, Bomberman, and I believe Fast Racing comes out if not launch day, within a week or two afterwards.
Yep.
And then, so that launch, I mean, yes, Zelda is the big thing there, but I mean, we have Mario Kart a month later, and then not too long after that, probably a month or two, we'll have Splatoon 2. And then by then, we'll probably have from E3 announcements of whatever's coming out until the holidays or during the holidays, which I'm sure will be more than just Super Mario Odyssey. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it was Reggie or someone else in interviews, but they've said that they're looking more at the result of the launch year than the launch date and launch month itself. I believe that's... I personally feel like that's looking more at the core Nintendo fans that are gonna rush out there and get it right away, like Andrew and I have.
Yep. Paid in full.
Yeah, it's definitely appealing more to them for right away. But as the year goes on, there's things to appeal to more people. There's more chances for them to have bundles for the holidays and price drops and just sales to get more people on. So the first month might be a little rocky for people that aren't necessarily core Nintendo fans, but I feel like with each month that goes on, they'll slowly become more and more satisfied, because this first year, I don't think we've ever had a launch year like this. I mean, we have a huge Zelda, we have the next big 3D Mario, we have Mario Kart, and we have another system seller like Splatoon. So that's a lot of what would normally be system sellers all in the first year. So I personally feel like that can't be looked at as a bad first year. The initial launch, I can understand people kind of complaining, but I think Nintendo wants us to look at the bigger picture of the year.
Okay, and Andrew, what do you think?
I completely agree with Tristan. The way they're marketing the Switch seems a lot more like they're trying to take focus off of the first day or the first month and just stretching out to the summer and the holidays, where they're probably going to market it a ton. I don't know, there's a lot of people saying oh, the launch lineup isn't that great, and people are going to complain about that, and people will hear that and just think the Switch isn't a good buy, or I don't know, I've heard a lot of issues about the Switch and what they're doing with it, but a lot of the issues are definitely on the software side rather than the hardware. A lot of the Wii U's problem was that not many games were made well for the gamepad.
Yeah.
I don't know, with the Wii U it was definitely that the hardware was a big issue, but with the Switch, it's something that could be really easily fixed by changing their policies or their software. I don't know. The hardware is very solid.
I think so far what Nintendo has an issue with is with PR. I think Nintendo hasn't really handled the actual message of the Switch that well.
Right.
They did the initial reveal extremely well. That was perfect. But the presentation, it kind of lacked some things that would have made it stronger.
Exactly.
Like, for example, when they announced the online services, they announced that it would be paid, but then they didn't give any details about it.
Yeah, that's definitely something that, like, I understand them wanting to wait a bit to say that, but I feel like they shouldn't have even mentioned that until later on then, so we don't have people angrily complaining about it when we don't know anything about it.
Yeah, you don't have people filling in the gaps themselves or assuming the worst. And because we don't know how it will be, and Nintendo hasn't told us anything, so it's led to a lot of confusion, a lot of misinformation.
Yeah.
And people don't really know what to expect.
Honestly, I believe that if the online service is either really cheap or just happens to be of really good quality, and if they manage to market the Switch really well during like the summer and during the holidays, I think this could be one of their best selling systems, honestly. It has so much potential.
Okay. So, do you guys have any last thoughts that you'd like to add before we wrap up this discussion?
I guess mostly that. Even, like, I know the marketing right now, or not the marketing, the PR right now isn't getting it out so well, but I remember earlier today I was looking at where else the tour of the demo of the Switch was going, and not even just around the US, but just in general, and they're hitting so many places where gamers are. So, like, not even just bringing it to cities, but I mean, they're hitting like every PAX, I think.
Yep.
So they're clearly trying to get out there, and at these events, like, they do a great job at really explaining it to the people there. Like, when we were actually in the event, I remember right after I had oh, this is something I should have mentioned. Right after I tried like this little demo of, it wasn't an actual game, but it was of taking the Switch from docked mode into portable mode, and then removing the Joy-Cons and putting them in the Joy-Con grip. Right after I tried all that out, which the Joy-Con grip is really good, by the way, there was like a TV crew that wanted to go and actually do the same thing and get like a small interview with the person there to get a better explanation of it. So they're clearly doing their best to, at these events, really get the word out. I think they're also anticipating the press really helps with that too, because the press is covering it really well too.
Oh yeah, I saw someone from some news site like just going around to the line, just interviewing random people that are excited for it.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember seeing a graphic on Twitter that showed how many articles there were about the Switch and how that's compared to just Nintendo coverage in general.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of people reading about the Switch. I think in the end, Nintendo just needs to have a standard PR message and really make sure that people are excited for it and they stay excited for it. And I think that the constant holiday or not holiday hits, but the constant hits could help with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So thank you guys for joining the discussion. So Tris, where can people find you?
So both Andrew and I can be found over at WiiHii, where we're always doing something new, and oftentimes we're trying to keep up with a new release. So when the Switch comes out, actually, when the Switch comes out, Andrew, you're planning on live streaming that, right?
I totally plan on live streaming Breath of the Wild.
So, I mean, that's just that's definitely the newest thing we're gonna be keeping up with after Resident Evil 7 when that comes out soon. But WiiHii's mostly where we are. I mean, we're on Twitter. That's basically where we spend a lot of time talking. But otherwise, that's basically it.
Okay. And I'm PushDustIn. You can find me by searching PushDustIn on Google. And you can also follow Source Gaming by looking up All Source Gaming. By looking up